Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and a battlefield analysis for the Dvorichna Front. Dvorichna is this city where the Russians actually have a massive bridgehead. So the river system is around here. So I think what we need to do is go into the Google Earth. So give me a second. So this is the Dvorichna region. So I want to show you that there is this river, which is also known as the Oskil River, as you can see. This is the Oskil River. The Russian forces basically have crossed over onto the western bank of the Oskil River, and in fact, they have done so well, they have managed to secure a very strong foothold on the this western side. I have probably previously talked about this region before, particularly with the Russians previously taking the town the or they incurred or take. I'm not sure if they captured it. I forgot of Novominsk around here, but that was just a diversion. The real attempt was actually in the south, where the Russians was going for Zapadne, which is this. This is Zapadne. So the Russian forces have now this position. This is the current situation. And however, it is not so simple as well because the Russian Defense Ministry have mentioned that they have captured Zapadne and Kalinove before that. So there is this kind of parallel universe or the lack of intel where the Russians on the mapping looks like they are here, but in their reporting by the Russian Defense Ministry, they might actually be like this. So, which looks like a goggle or a bra or whatever you want to call this. So which means that the battlefield looks rather different from what we have. So we're going to analyze this into two parts. So in fact, or three parts, because there part of the Dvorichna Front. There is also the situation in the north at the border with Russia. So let's look at this sector a bit more closely, and which is Kalinove and Zapadne, which is over here. So let me see what is the best orientation. I just want to show you there's the terrain as well. First, you can see Kalinove is in the south. In the valley, there is high grounds just next to it. Similarly, this area here is very hilly. Zapadne again, this is also in a depression. There is high ground on the Russian side along the highway. So I know it's very dizzy when I'm swinging this thing around. I just want to show you this very hilly. So yeah, let me find. So I think this is good. I think this orientation looks decent. So we can see some of this high ground where the Ukrainians could have positions. Wrong color. So I'm quite sure the Ukrainians are in this forest here. They are in this tree line. These are all high ground positions. And then this is a gully, which is like in between the hills. I'm quite sure Ukrainian forces may have positions over there, and they could have some of this over here. There's some high ground here. Potentially, the Ukrainians have some potential positions and along this forest here. The Russians claim that they have captured Kalinove previously. I'm not sure if it's me or them. Like, is it me mapped the wrong Kalinove, or is it them saying the wrong place, or over claiming? Whatever it is, let's assume that they have this position, which, because technically speaking, this makes sense that the Russians could potentially have captured some grounds around here, and because of this development around here, as the Russians have taken firm control of this forest. This forest here is 100% under Russian control. So, given this tide of war, it looks possible that the Russians have also taken this line of three lines, and they have fire control over onto the other side, which allows them to take these positions and potentially have some forward positions along all these forests here. Some minor positions. But I mean, Kalinove is more a bit, it's a bit not here, not there. Like, you're not very clear. Is it really realistic? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Like I say, it is technically plausible that the Russians have this control around here, but the Ukrainians could potentially have a very strong forest positions, which makes the capture of Kalinove rather difficult. So so this is the tactical situation here in the south, where the Ukrainians could have all these positions. Further up in the north, the Russians probably have taken all these forests. The Ukrainian mapping have shown that Russians have taken the this barn or no industrial building or something no on the outside of Zapatny. And if the Russian claim is true, the Russians have now control over Kalinove. They are now defending over there, and however they are surrounded by Ukrainian forces, potentially surrounded in all of this area with the forest over in the north. Of course, there's further things over there. That is Dvorichna, so that's not important. That's for later. So this is the current tactical or strategic picture of this sector. As you can see, how this looks like. So yeah, just draw a little bit more here. So Kalinove region here, not particularly strategically important, I would say. I think the forest is more important. These forests are more important. A very hilly region, probably if you have enough troops, I think it's not that bad. It's easy to fight. But if you don't have enough troops, then yeah, it could be a problem for either side, because there's potentially a lot of sniping positions. There could be anti-tank guided missiles positions where it can be all concealed, and with all the hills, it's easy to hit a target far away. So because it's not flat, so with vantage point, it is possible for any side, for both sides, to launch a guided missile for a very long distance. So Zapatny, even if the Russians have taken it, let's say the Russians have taken it, let me move this label away. So let's say that this is their positions right now. The Ukrainians still have this forest. They still have these positions around here. I'm quite sure the Russians have taken this, and of course, all of these roads crossing around here, and they have these buildings here. So they probably have all of these tree lines, and this forest is clearly under Russian control as well. So these are the Russian positions. Ukrainians could potentially have positions along this forest and along the road in the north, tree lines north. Yeah, so that's the Ukrainian position. There is a problem with is the Japan is surrounded from all sides, but they are backed by a very strong very strong buttress in the like foundation, very strong foundation in the east of it. So so potentially holdable, I guess. But the Ukrainians could potentially attack from all three sides, and yeah, the Russians here will be very thin. The troops number here should be quite thin. It's pretty hard to do a counter attack. Do a counter attack like this. It will be pretty difficult. Ukrainians could attack in three sides, and they have big forests for them to hide their forces. Yeah, not so easy for the Russians as well. But strategically speaking, in the grand scale of things, the number of Ukrainian troops in this sector should be quite thin. That's the main concern for the Ukrainian side. And if the Russians manage to break out, they could start to drive all over the place, and that would be a massive problem. But tentatively, I believe that the Russians' aim is still to establish a firm control, a very firm bridgehead around here, which is already established, but they need a town or two, which is a city. So this is the two targets. Zapatny claimed to be captured, so there's one down. Dvorichna is a totally different situation. So let's come to take a look at Dvorichna. This is Dvorichna city. So the crossing over here is under Russian control. So under firm Russian control, they surely defending this area pretty well. They have control of this forest. They have control of the city, the entire eastern part of the city, much of the center part, and then this entire stretch, which is actually the southern part of the city, and part of this forest, and the entire chain of the settlement here. So the Russians have very strong control around here. Ukrainians are getting stuck in the center. There's only one crossing over here. This is a river. This is a river system, and the Ukrainian forces are holding lines in the western part. So these are all the other Ukrainian positions potentially, potential Ukrainian positions. This forest I think is under Russian control. Given how the tactical situation develops, I don't think Ukrainians can stay here. They could potentially on the road forest. So that is the situation. We have fighting being reported towards Kukivka already, so the Russians could potentially already starting to move out in this direction towards Kukivka, and they have engaged Ukrainian forces. Like I said, my feeling is that the Ukrainians may not have a lot of troops in these front lines, so things might be very difficult for the Ukrainians here, and I believe that they might be outnumbered by the Russian forces in the Dvorichna Front, because this is like a pretty new front line, and there might not be formations. No, there is big formations that is thrown in this sector. Like they probably have some territorial defense troops, holding the lines, and then they're getting pushed. So let's wait and see how this continue to play out. I think the Russians have firm control, and they are likely going to continue to capture the rest of the center part, establish control, everything south of this river, and then they will start to push towards the rest of Voreshna. And potentially they're going to push out to create some more buffer zone. There is some tree lines here that they can take control, but the forest is a problem for the Russians. They need to storm into the forest and capture the forest, which is not going to be so straightforward. The region in the west is a bit more complicated with a lot more forest regions, which means a lot more concealment for the Ukrainian troops heading in the direction of Kukivka. But yeah, I think the Russian objective is still pretty much a city first. And I think after capturing the city, they will just then decide, what's next. So, and the one more sector is of course at the border region. This area here definitely have a lot lesser troops than at the Battle of Voreshna. So let me see how do I orientate this in the best way possible. So Russian forces allegedly was attacking these two regions, Topoli and Stroivka. So the Russian forces are though attacking this region. They probably is not very big, probably at most battalion size. They are harassing Ukrainian troops, forcing Ukrainians to send reinforcement to this sector, defending Topoli and Troivka. And then they also started to send reinforcement into Kayamka. And they probably have fire control and control over the breach. Russian forces probably is over at the forest. They aren't so close to the breach. Ukrainians are closer because of the city control. And they are being forced into sending more reinforcement to this sector, and then from Kayamka sending troops towards Topoli and Troivka, and to hold this position. This is a diversion to me, towards this to divert Ukrainian forces away from the fighting at the Voreshna city. So, but it is still a threat. Like if the Russians say accidentally, get into Kayamka and capture it, then it is still a road. It is still a road that they can actually penetrate through and start to do a wild drive. Start to do a wild drive, and that's going to be a chaotic situation. The most strategic city after Voreshna is, I believe, Veliki Bulok. This is a junction, so this is probably important. This area here, I mean, it's still a junction. It's still important. Could potentially be a triangle place where the Russians would want to hold control. So this is important. This is important. Another junction here, and then another junction. All these junctions are the important ones. So the Voreshna is a massive, important city, frontline defensive city, and it's falling right now. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like if this become a major front line, then a lot of troops will have to be needed on the Ukrainian side, and then potentially for the Russian if they want to push on the Russian side, because there is a lot of forests and positions that they need to cover and to put defensive position. If you put it too thin, the Russians get up a forces and they can punch through. Yeah, that is not going to be that pleasant. So anyway, just the battlefield analysis for the Dvorichna Front. So thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Oh yeah, and I want to see whether we can actually drop in any points to take a look. Well, there is forest. We can potentially go into the forest in the north of Dvorichna. So this is the forest. It looks pretty shootable. Like, yeah, you could potentially shoot for quite a distance. Yeah, this is the kind of forest that we are talking about. Yeah, when I look at the map, I see the forest, the thick forest. All I think about is jungle. But it's not jungle. This is a forest. Like, yeah, because I train. I have my military training in jungles. So, yeah, this looks so comfortable, so comfortable. Yeah. So, I mean, it provide good cover from the top, like from the sky, but it's no on the ground. It doesn't look very concealed. So is there any more other places that we can actually drop in to take a look? Yeah, there's another forest position. Let's take a look at this position. It looks very similar. It looks pretty similar. Yeah, this is the kind of forest that there is in this Dvorichna Front. Nothing particularly very interesting. The crossing over here. Let's take a look. So this is the crossing. I'm quite sure this bridge is already destroyed by now. There's another bridge over there, but it's broken due to the 360 photo. But yeah, the river looks quite deep in this region here. Definitely the tanks can't really. Maybe I'm not sure how deep is this. It looks deep to me, but yeah, tanks rolling across the river might looks a bit dangerous. Yeah, so that's what it is. Do we have more place that we can take a look through? There's one dot there, but yeah, not much. So yeah, that's it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Yeah, let me know if you prefer battlefield analysis or quick updates. They are very different. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys. I said this 3 times already in the next update.